Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, I still haven't woken up from this fever dream yet, but without further ado, let's get jiggy with it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Gloves Off Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things Nintendo and gaming, at least for this week, very heavily. I am one of your fabulous hosts, Master Hand Games Koopa, and joined as always by the banjo to my kazooie. It's Mr. Chris CX. Buddy,
Hello,
how you doing today?
hello, friend. If I was better at the banjo and kazooie voices, I would have did them instead. I think everyone would have been really confused.
I hope you're good at shooting grenades out of your butt, but
I know,
that's neither here.
I've never tried.
That's neither here nor there.
Huh.
So, joining us today, a couple of returning guests, and probably people just as excited to talk about what happened today as I am. Starting with good friend of ours, Zone. How you doing today?
Good.
And calling in once again from an undisclosed location in Long Island, it's Frank in the car, Mr. Hangman. What's going on, man? So very clear. So this is an episode I've been looking forward to for a while. And I would just want to give a big shout out to Doug Bowser and Nintendo for scheduling the press conference on Tuesday, because we also schedule on Tuesdays. So gave us shit to talk about this week. And needless to say, E3 has been started last Sunday. Started on Sunday, Friday.
I want to say it was 3 days, so I guess that would
So
put us on Sunday.
Sunday, yeah. So everything kicked off on Sunday. All the press conferencey stuff.
Saturday.
Oh, it was Saturday.
That's right. With the
It was-
They had the pre-E3 tournament stuff.
That's true. So everything. So from Saturday till today was all the press conferencey stuff, and now for the rest of the week, I think is all the, the vendor stuff. People are actually allowed on the convention side of things to actually test play a lot of the stuff that's been showcased the last couple of days. We'll clear the air with obviously the big shit that dropped today at some point, but obviously E3 is kind of like, it's not as Christmassy for gamers as it used to be, and it's something that we're going to talk about today. But I always look forward to E3 every year, because that's obviously when these big flagship companies reveal their big guns, give us their plans for the rest of the year, show us a lot of CG trailer footage, and sometimes releasing video games for the Wii in 2019, as do certain companies. But we're not going to talk about that just yet. So
really is something, though.
yeah, so let's talk about from what I don't know how much you guys have seen. I've seen like bits and pieces of everything the last few days. Is there anything that you guys that stood out to you guys so far? I don't think you liked.
I think before I even do that, I just really noticed this year more than any other year, and we kind of got to see this happen in previous years, just how different of a medium gaming is. Because the first thing I thought of, and we were having trouble even just figuring out when E3 started for a second, it's because it sort of was underwhelming to begin with some of the earlier press conferences and some of the things that happened. And it's like Sony didn't even show up this year, which is an interesting thing that we could get back to. But just like the whole thing between all of the games that are coming out now that are kind of like big live feature, either cross with Netflix or have real actors in them. We get to see the second Walking Dead actor appear in a video game. It's the guy who played Shane and also Punisher. The name is escaping me. It's John something. But in either case, like it's totally different now. And we got to see things like first person shooters to third person shooters to more first-person shooters to more actors to probably some more shooters, and that was kind of that's not unusual, because that's a lot of times E3. But there wasn't really anything like, as you said, Christmassy, or really anything that stood out outside of, like, I don't know. Off the bat, I'm thinking of like Phantasy Star Online was kind of cool, and really not as much like games that are cool, but like we're starting to see a new structure with like how games are being distributed, because there's the Xbox. Actually, it's just like the Microsoft Ultimate Pass, where basically you pay anywhere between $10 to $15 a month to get unlimited access to like hundreds of titles. So it's just like things are just different now. And that was like my biggest takeaway from this E3 so far. And Nintendo kind of brought it back, but as a whole, it really is a whole different medium. I don't know if any of you guys kind of got that same feeling.
Yes and no. I still feel the excitement usually when I see like companies announce new things. The thing that like kind of sucks it at E3 for me is that a lot of this just feels like It feels less of a game conference as more of like a shareholders meeting, which which is like true of like what it technically is. Like, but I'm watching a lot of these press conferences. Like I watched a good chunk of Microsoft. I watched almost all of Bethesda. I watched a good chunk of Ubisoft and Square Enix the last few days. And it's the alarming lack of like actual gameplay that these like
Precisely,
that
yes.
these trailers
Jesus
show
Christ,
is what
yes.
really like freaked
They're
me out.
movie
Like,
trailers. They're
yeah, like the one example I'll use from what I like specifically remember is I was watching the Bethesda conference and the first bit of the
Fallout.
first bit of gameplay the first bit of gameplay I actually saw that I recall was Commander Keen of all fucking things. It was a mobile game. So like I just feel like I could have
Well, we got a lot of those this E3.
yeah, which is like so that's where like the wind kind of falls out of my sails. And like, we'll get to it with Nintendo, but like that's why Nintendo tends to deliver really well. And Square Enix also did to an extent. But if your core demographic is video games, like show me the video game. Don't show me the CG cutscene.
This is where we're at though, right? So it's a different medium now. So gaming has definitely surpassed like your traditional entertainment, or is happening very soon. And the reality is like if you're the media industry, you kind of have to adjust to that, and that's why you're getting a bunch of games with like actors. Like we saw Keanu Reeves is in a video game now too. Like that's that's insane, dude. People think he's Miyamoto. Like it's like a totally different world, dude. And it makes a lot of sense that they would be doing stuff like this, and it also makes a lot of sense that the trailers would be very like cutscene driven. Because this was sort of like we got hints of this last year when like Death Stranding was first announced with like Norman Reedus, you know what I mean? And I feel like ever since that, like that was an Xbox exclusive. Now we get a Keanu Reeves. I'm sorry, that was a PS4 exclusive. Now we get a Keanu Reeves Xbox exclusive in Cyberpunk 77. So the fact that like it's commanding so much of an audience like it is, and everyone now, or not everyone, but there's a large chunk of the younger audience that kind of use Twitch as their like medium for watching entertainment. Like if you're the media industry, you're definitely going to adjust to that. You still provide what you would in the media, just like to a different forum, which is like gaming. Part of me feels like that's why Sony didn't even do a press conference, because I feel like there's just not a lot of unique stuff. It's just like, okay, here's these really theatrical games coming out now. Even Final Fantasy VII a little bit, like, and that's a remake, and that like made a conference. You know what I mean? That's literally an HD remake.
Yeah, and I think you go, Nezzy.
I was gonna say I feel like the reason Sony didn't like come in with the reason why they didn't have a conference is because they didn't really want to tell us anything that they didn't already tell us.
Well, right.
Like they already told us about the PS5, and they probably think that like because like the launch itself for the PS5 is like probably not even within the next year, so they don't want to like get us hyped for something that's nowhere near close to coming. Whereas like you see Microsoft, they're willing to tell us like stuff that's coming like at the end of 2020, and it's like that's nice, but like I can't really like care about it right now. So I think that's what Sony was trying to avoid by like not having a conference, is like not revealing stuff that like is not in the near future.
So, and that's the trick too, is like because Microsoft, yeah, they announced their new hardware coming out, and this sort of happened with PS4 and Xbox One, if you recall, like just sort of like you're talking about something that's still a prototype, like the Scorpio, the Microsoft Scorpio, which is the code name for the new Xbox. Like that's gonna change a million times before it comes out, and they give a tentative date, but this thing isn't created yet. They're just saying like, oh, these specs are gonna be out by then, and we'll make a system with it. But in reality, like it'll still be the same thing where it always is like those specs will be out, and they'll make a box out of it, but like you probably still make a PC that's all the same. And I think like. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the reason why I hate watching Microsoft like advertise their new hardware, because it's like for the informed, it's like, aren't you just advertising me a PC that I can build with the same amount of money?
Yes.
That's just better than what you're giving me. Like what is it supposed to be doing for me?
And then now there's a gaming pass that literally is crossplay. So it's like, hey, you could buy this finished system or just play the things on Windows anyways, and you could just do it for $15 a month, and you get like access to 100 plus games. Which that part is great, honestly. The membership I think is pretty fairly priced. For anyone who's unaware, I'll try and find it for the screen cap so you could look at it. But there's like a new Game Pass for Microsoft, and it's pretty smart because it's $15 a month. If you have the Game Pass, it pays for your Xbox Live, which is already like $10 a month. Like it's a good idea. So that's what I was saying, like mediums, because I'm pretty sure Nintendo will probably end up doing some semblance of this in the future. Even we kind of saw hints with just Nintendo Online, although that's much simpler than something like this, because this will cover like new releases and stuff. So like I feel like that's really what Microsoft brought to the table this time around. It was really more like back end sort of like, okay, here's how we're gonna deliver you games now, versus like, okay, here's like some actual new games that you might be excited about. Because otherwise, just like a lot of the same like stuff. They announced Gears 5, which me personally very excited for. I would hit play on this trailer, but I don't want to get copyrighted.
Arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But like
yeah, but
it looks cool. But anyways.
yeah, I was gonna say like that's always kind of been my big problem with Microsoft conferences in general, because like I'm sure I speak for a lot of people when I say this, but like the reason I watch these conferences is because I want people to sell me on these consoles. Like, give me a reason to buy a PlayStation, and then I eventually found that reason via with the anime machine that it is. But like every year I've watched Xbox, I'm just like, give me a reason to buy this thing, because I feel like Microsoft has to do something like that where they give you like a a low monthly fee to basically unlock a GameFly account and get all these fucking games.
Totally.
Yeah, because
because
they don't have a niche to pull on. Like they don't have like something that's different. It's like anyone can, again, like go back to the computer thing, but it's like you're advertising specs. No one wants to. No one, or I don't want to say no one. But like I feel like it's not so far fetched to say that gaming is supposed to be about the games.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
I don't know
it
how
really
far
shouldn't
fetched.
be far
Yeah,
fetched.
but like if I say that, it's like I could be stepping over some toes. Like it's just
Like
that
you're really not. Go for it, man.
it
Like
feels
that's
very
literally what it's
basic and
about.
simple.
Hmm.
But Microsoft never really focuses on that. So
So
it's
that
always like, okay, so you've given me once again no reason to want to buy your console.
but and that's like, I don't even think it's an issue. I just think it gets confused as for like what it actually is, because Microsoft is sort of the backbone of how a lot of these games get played anyways, because when you think about like being a PC gamer and being able to play literally almost any game outside of Nintendo games asterisk on the PC, then like, that's non-unique. So even if you're PlayStation, you might have a few exclusives, like, but if you're Microsoft, your exclusives are still going to be on the PC, because a Microsoft license is a Microsoft license. So adding a box to that doesn't really add a whole lot to the experience of being an Xbox owner. What it does is makes it easier for maybe someone who either doesn't want a PC or is younger and just needs something quick and easy. Like, it offers that solution. But that brings me to the point of like, why not just make the Xbox like a PC? And maybe they're going to do that. I have no idea. But like, it seems like the natural way. And the one thing I will say though, and Zone, I saw you actually tweet about this. The new Halo was announced as well, and that is something that will sell a system.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
that's like the one thing that they have.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
I
they
agree
didn't even
because
show
like
much of that. With Halo Infinite, they only did a teaser, and not even of like a gameplay teaser. It was like a very minor teaser that only pulls into the lore.
They don't have to. It's amazing.
to be fair, Halo has that much of a pull, like
Yeah.
that you can advertise it saying that the console's being released with Halo and people will be interested. Like me, for example, like I had absolutely no interest in this console, but if I can play Halo on it, I might consider it.
And so that's just it, right? So you have like something that's announced that it's just like, okay, there's going to be a new console. It's very prototype. We don't have much, but Halo's coming out for it, and then everyone's just like, oh shit, man! Like, all right, like, all right, this
it's
is
like
cool.
it's like that SpongeBob meme where like he's standing at the stand and there's like nobody around it, and then he flips up the name tag and it says Halo on it, and then there's a giant crowd around him.
Dude, it's exactly what it's like. And
Yeah, but
the trailer's
I
nice, by the way.
yeah, no, the trailer was really nice, and I guess like if there's two things I'll take away from Microsoft, it's that and Fantasy Star Online, which is absolutely
That
fantastic.
is a good
It's
one
really
as
going.
well. Yes.
But like, like you said, this is a system seller. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna buy an Xbox to play Halo, because I'm just flat out not going to. I'll just borrow my brother's. But like, I just it definitely speaks for like kind of the poor side of E3, but at the same time, like, uh, people, I feel like people made like obviously it is a big deal. Like Sony wasn't there this year to announce anything, but I do feel like because Sony wasn't there, it kind of gave the Squeenix conference a chance to stand on its own legs for the first time ever.
Totally.
Yeah, that's true.
Because in my opinion, like the Square Enix conference is usually one of the most useless conferences outside of the PC game. Cough, because it's just like they just recycle the same trailers from the Sony trailer.
And
That's
sometimes Nintendo.
I hadn't thought about that. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
That's
Yes.
actually like a really good point. But I kind of feel the same way about Bethesda in a sense.
Very true.
Like, what are you still having a conference for? Like, you're a game developing company.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
like,
What?
I don't understand. Why are you up there? Say that again?
I was saying how they were like this close to not being absolutely awful this year.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Like,
But
More
that was the
focus on
one
Elder
conference.
Scrolls Blades and bringing it to Switch. I feel like bringing it to Switch is a good move, but if you've seen anything out of Elder Scrolls Blades, you'll see that it's like a huge slap in the face for any Elder Scrolls fan. We didn't get any news about Elder Scrolls 6, which, they kind of stroked themselves off about how successful Elder Scrolls Online is doing, which is good for them. And then they like admitted to being really bad with how they handled Fallout 76, which I feel like a press conference shouldn't be about you admitting how much you suck, no matter if it's like a morally cool thing to do.
Hey man, if you ask that one guy in the front row the whole conference, Bethesda did nothing wrong.
I want to know
That
who
was a whole plan. That was a whole plan.
Returned him to his family because I feel like he was held at gunpoint to cheer the way he did.
That was a whole plan.
So let me ask you guys this then. So Bethesda, Square Enix. What did you guys think about the? I don't know how much you got to watch the Ubisoft conference.
So I was actually like, that one is average. Like I can't say that they were terrible, but I definitely like feel like they did some things right. But then like they did some things like really out of the blue, and it's just like, why are you doing this at E3? Like the whole like Netflix like Mystic Quest or whatever.
It was a strange flex for sure.
I was just like, okay, but you didn't have to do this here. Like you didn't have to show us this here. No one came to see this. I admit that it's kind of interesting.
Conference, and if that's not the most lit thing you saw this weekend, then I don't know.
Say again?
They had a
They
dog.
had a dog.
They
They had
did.
Bam Bam the dog.
It was
I
with
don't know who the hell
he was
dog
with the
it was, but
Walking.
he was cute.
He was with the Walking Dead guy. Hold on.
Yeah.
Ubisoft. John. There it is. Yeah. So this guy.
I was talking with a friend about Ubisoft, and like I was actually like I watched their whole thing, and I was like, okay, like this is actually like kind of good. But then like he told me that literally every year Ubisoft always displays a bunch of games that are not coming out anytime soon, and then by the time the games come out, they're nothing like they displayed them at E3. Like absolutely not even close to being the same.
Cough, cough, Watch Dogs. Cough, cough, Watch Dogs.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
Mhm.
so that's why it's like I thought at first I was like, well, yeah, these look really good, and then he told me that, and I was like, okay, let's hold off on that until some more concrete stuff comes out of them because their history is not the brightest.
Yeah, because the Watch Dogs is one of those classic cases of like, wow, this game sounds so sick, and then like it came out, and even like things as simple as like your reflection in like the glass on the street would be like not an actual reflection; it would be like your back. It would be like it was like all screwed up. And then this time they introduced a unique concept to Watch Dogs where it's like, okay, so you're in London, and Brexit is totally fucked, and you can recruit literally anyone to be on your team. And that whole concept is cool because theoretically you're walking through an open world that is London, and you're basically just recruiting anyone from like a fucking grandma who's retired, whatever, to like some punk kid who's just really smart at the age of like 16. So like there's that concept. And so yeah, if history repeats, you would expect that to not work at all, and you just have like a main character, and you have like so like I get it. And they were definitely the ones to flex the things like having real actors and stories. That was the whole Rainbow Six Siege thing. So I don't know. The one thing I didn't love, and I hope this isn't a huge trend, but I know it very well may be, they're just like the first ones to do it, is they have their own Game Pass as well. They have an Ubisoft Pass that gives you access to like 100 games. It's like $15 a month, but why am I going to want to pay Ubisoft $15 a month if I'm paying Xbox like the same for games as well? So these are kinds of things that are going to be kind of pivotal moving forward, and I think this sort of does indicate like where the industry is going in terms of like, you could pay $15 a month and even get access to new games instead of paying like 70 for a new one. And I don't even think that's bad. But like if we're going to see it at an individual developer level, that is sort of a point of interest for me at least, because there's a lot of developers out there.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, Ubisoft to me is at its best when Aisha Tyler is dropping F-bombs on stage. That's just me. That's how.
Fair point.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I don't know. Also, like Ubisoft always were like some of my biggest problems come out where like I like as even though I just joked about it, I actually hate it when like game devs like get up on stage and just like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. And I'm just like, all right, I get it. Like you're trying I understand that like dropping F bombs is like, common language, but like don't do it at a press conference because it's not gonna make me want to buy Just Dance for the Nintendo Wii any more than it actually does. But
Yeah.
Oh,
So
you
yeah.
want to know a fun game? A fun game for you and the friends. Take day 1 and day 2 of E3 coverage, any conference really, and take a sip or a
I
shot
know
of
what you're doing.
alcohol every time the phrase "gamers" is
Gamers.
used. I
it's
promise you, the most entertaining way to off yourself.
Yeah, Microsoft was especially bad with that.
It was so cringy. Like I get it. Playing video games is a lifestyle now, but like, can
this
we don't?
this is
Can we just not?
this is the modern day version of like your I don't know, your fucking uncle who's a lot older than you was successful in finance and is like, I relate to you and I know what it's like to be a struggling teenager as well. You know what I mean? It's just like
I was just gonna say, like, they were like, there's one instance in Bethesda where like they like blatantly showed up the guy that like showed up to the press conference wearing the Doom guy helmet.
oh,
And I'm
dude,
just like, I was like, did they plant this guy? Or, like, did he actually like show up like dressed like this?
there's actually this is I can't did any of you guys see it's Rob, I forget his last name, the guy from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's basically he had his own thing and basically he's making a show about developers like we're talking about where it's like,
Yeah, that's what I was talking about before, Mythic Quest.
oh, that's Mythic Quest. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that is the most incredible satire. It's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it was definitely very cringeworthy. But real talk, just to end on a high note on Ubisoft, they announced Adventure Time characters for Brawlhalla,
Yeah.
and that was
That
fucking
was actually
awesome.
pretty cool. That was
Yeah.
actually pretty cool.
That is so sick.
That
Like-
made me think in some kind of way because Brawlhalla probably has like the most dev support of any platformer, any
Yeah.
platform fighter.
Oh, absolutely.
Like-
They have like hundreds of thousands of dollars in pop bonus
Yeah.
prizes for their tournaments and circuits. They're like thriving financially, and the game isn't too bad.
It's
But,
not
like,
actually.
I want to know where the crossover for the demographics are, where they decided that Finn and Jake needed to be playable skins. How
Well,
did that work? Who
That's a
did
good
this?
point.
it's big business, man. I mean, they're now
How did that
retired
show get
characters.
canceled for, like, at
They're
least,
trying to
like,
they're trying
2
to
years?
steal the they're trying to steal the youngins that are all playing Smash Ultimate and bring them over to Brawlhalla.
Yeah, the kids
what
who
they
get
do.
salty going 0-2 and say, I wanna play my favorite.
Yeah, I want to play Finn
cartoon
and Jake in
characters.
Brawlhalla. Screw
Yeah,
Smash
it's not
Ultimate.
not fun. It's stupid, and like even Rayman's in Brawlhalla too. I almost forgot about that. It
Oh,
is it is like a really interesting
It's
catch-all.
Ubisoft. So.
Yeah, it totally is. He is a Ubisoft character. So,
in before we get Steven Universe characters next, because you already know that's coming.
dude, and
I'm definitely trying to see like Steven in Rivals of Aether.
That'd be sick. Yeah, but I don't know. Like, there's definitely some gems. And so I think before we move on to like the
what the
meat and
people really
potatoes-
want. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any like other stuff like that actually that like stood out to you guys? Because like, if there's one thing that I like, one press conference I was like pleasantly surprised with was the Square Enix conference.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, that was a lot of fun because a lot of the stuff that I was interested was coming out of that conference. All I wanted, like, from the C3 was I wanted a new look at the Smash DLC and to see if that Marvel's Avengers game was actually real or if I wasn't just high. And it was real, and it looks very, very good. And Nathan Drake is Tony Stark, and I've never been happier in my entire life.
So
Like, that game looks fucking fantastic. Oh my god.
So I'm pretty sure that Square also had the Dragon Quest trailer in it as well as Nintendo. Like they both
Yes.
did it.
Yeah,
So that and the Final Fantasy VII remake, because I've never played Final Fantasy VII, but I saw like before and after pics of like what the game actually looked like and what the remake looks like, and I'm like, okay, this is like actually like a new age game. I should probably get this when it comes out,
Yeah, it's a
like just so
different
that I can
game.
experience, just so that I can experience it. So that like definitely, I definitely felt for that one, but I didn't. I watched the entirety of Square Enix's conference because it was actually like interesting. Like even though I wasn't like familiar with a lot of the games, like just because I haven't played them, like it was interesting enough that I didn't feel like turning it off. Like,
Yeah, it
and
made good
that's something
background
that
noise.
not even background noise. Like I was like actively watching it. Like the thing is like with like Bethesda and Microsoft, uh, and even Ubisoft, when there was something on the screen that I didn't like understand, didn't know, they are not good at making it enticing for people that don't know what's on the screen. But
Mm-hmm.
Square Enix and especially Nintendo, I feel did that really well. Where it's like they're showing you stuff that like if you don't know what it is, like you can actually see like the game itself at least a little bit so that you get an idea of what it actually is, whereas like especially Microsoft didn't show you anything of like what the games actually were. They just showed you a bunch of trailers, so it's like I don't care about a trailer. I don't know what this game is. Like it's you're not convincing me to buy the game on a trailer that doesn't show any gameplay, like stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. But
I made a comment last week about being excited that Kingdom Hearts 3 would be revealed at this year's E3. And the fact that they announced DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3 has got me feeling some kind of way. Like
Yeah,
somebody finally caught with
it's
this.
it's unfortunate, honestly.
the thing that like caught me from left field is that Final Fantasy VIII finally got like let out of the dungeon and like is finally joining the ranks of the Final Fantasy games that gets like remade because like they completely ignored it when releasing the Final Fantasy games to the Switch, and then they're just like, yeah, we're gonna we'll remake 10 and 10-2 and break the glass and redo 7, and it's like 9, yeah, nothing comes after 7, 9 comes after 7. So like to finally to like see like the people that enjoy Final Fantasy VIII like get that satisfaction, like it made me feel some type of way. And once again, I will die on the hill by saying that Avengers, like even though it was like mostly CG with like sprinklings of like what looked like to be gameplay in it, I was very excited, and things that they're promising for that make me very excited. I'm kind of pissed off that they're using the Hank Pym Ant-Man and not the Scott Lang Ant-Man because Hank Pym.
Wait, you cut out. You cut out for like just a second there. Right as you were saying the important stuff.
Oh, I was saying fuck Hank Pym as Ant-Man. He's a douchebag.
Yeah, I hear that, dude. I don't know. There's for the most part, I guess E3 has been kind of cool. Like, there's even been things like just kind of sprinkled in there. Like even like Psychonauts 2 is something that comes to mind. The remake of Battletoads is something that also comes to mind, even though it's just like an arcade game.
My only issue with these is that they were announced prior to E3. Like we got a
Yeah,
Battletoads teaser a couple of months back, and like a lot of cool things that were just further teased. I don't even want to dare say that they were given trailers or like extended looks, but like extended teasers almost. We've gotten prior to E3, and I feel like that dampens the effects because there was very few things that we learned like brand new at E3 that were substantial this year.
Yeah,
You're right about that, because even like something else that like I was pretty excited about, which is like Borderlands 3. Like even that's something like we've known about this for a while. We even kind of know like when it's coming. The one thing I'll kind of point at, and this is the pinnacle of controller design. This is a nice controller from Xbox. Like, say what you will about Microsoft, and I know we've talked a lot of shit today, but like, this is a really nice controller. It's too bad it's like
They've
100.
always designed nice
Dude, it's like
controllers.
$180, but like this thing
no,
is,
what?
yeah, yep. And I think that's like a discounted price. It's got like,
I remember Julio was saying he was gonna play PC games with that. No, he's not. No, he's not. Not at
dude,
$180.
here, hold
He's
on.
not.
I'll look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's something over that. Another thing I wanted to point out is, since I have it open, and once again, as much shit as I talk about Ubisoft, I thought this is a cool idea, Roller Champions, which is like kind of like a made-up sport game, kind of like a roller derby.
It does look good.
Oh, that was that Square or Ubisoft?
That
Which
was
one did
that was
that?
that was
that
Ubisoft.
was Ubisoft.
Yeah. Yeah, that like
That's kind of neat.
Are you gonna say something about that, Frank?
No, I was just gonna say that Roller Champions looks really cool, and the fact that they released a public beta this weekend or public alpha, whatever the hell, like that's the kind of stuff that gets me hyped about E3 is when they try to not only just have displays for the people who are at the conference, but then also give something to the people who are watching. Because I feel like it's no secret that majority of the people who are interested in E3 are watching the news from home. So to like pull in their interest further, I feel is like a huge step in the right direction for E3.
So
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the shadow drop. Just saying.
$180 confirmed, by the way.
Shoo!
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
that's a spicy meatball for sure. But
That's like half a car. That's like half a month's car payment.
dude,
No,
that you could buy a Switch for like less for just like another $100. Like what like who decided this? Like what's in this controller? That's what I want to know.
Yo, I definitely just looked up an article that said that the article's title was Microsoft knows what fair prices are when dealing with their hardware. Like, and then you
Yeah.
showed me that, and I'm like, I don't know.
I just
Yeah.
I just want to know what's in it. Like
No, rumor has it if you enter the Konami code, a hologram displays a beta code for Final Fantasy VII.
Here's what the article says. Microsoft says it knows what reasonable price points are at E3.
Yeah, Microsoft is also the same conference that Microsoft is always also the same conference that said if you don't want to play online all the time, play an Xbox 360. So
Oh my god.
yeah, that's a yikes. I was thinking about that whole game sharing thing earlier, but I don't know. I'm kind of we've been on this for a while. I'm kind of ready to talk about the exciting stuff because Nintendo knows how to make games feel like games, and there's things that are. Shout out to Biddy. Thanks for the sub, by the way.
My man. So here's my question to you guys. So do you guys want to end on the crazy shit and like work our way up to that, or what do you want to do?
I'll work our way up.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
me personally, I'm about like I think we should talk about the not Smash stuff beforehand because I feel like there's a decent amount to unpack.
I was gonna say that the non-Smash part stuff I was more excited about than the actual Smash stuff personally.
The Smash stuff would be like in the middle, like
because like there was a lot in this E3, man.
And yet some people will still say this direct was bad,
dude, because they're a bunch of young shit posting, don't know shit about games, like little dweebs.
A new Smash game.
Yeah,
we just need a new game. This will solve the issue definitely 100%.
This was one of the best conferences from Nintendo I've seen in years, and it's because it offered, not only did it offer some remakes, it offered some brand new games, it offered some collections that come with new versions of the game, looking at Contra and looking at there's another one that's slipping my mind, but in either case, like there's like Panzer Dragoon.
The Mana collection.
Oh my god,
the Dragoon thing. I forgot the name. Panzer. Yeah.
But yeah, Trials of Mana, you had that, Frank. That was the one I was talking about. But yeah, the Panzer Dragoon game, I can't tell you how excited I am about that. And seeing even just one resident sleeper in the chat had me triggered. But you know, I'll get over it somehow.
Yo, man, Panzer Dragoon, bruh.
Yeah,
it actually like blew my mind.
That game is
a launch title for the Dreamcast,
dude, and that was from deep, dude. I had that on Sega Saturn, and they were like some of the best games I've ever played. It's a traditional rail shooter, but like it's
got a cool lizard.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it is super cool. And it's a game that hasn't really been out in a while. I think I had like a remake on. It was a Sega Saturn game, and I think it came out on like Xbox randomly.
I don't remember.
The first Xbox, not Xbox One Xbox. But in either case, I'm trying to find some gameplay trailers that won't get me flagged. Let me see. But yeah, so like stuff like gloves off.
Oh yeah, I had an audience member stop in for a second, so I'm plugging the podcast.
Heck, dude, you gotta. But yeah.
Speaking of another, I guess new version is a good way to put it. The Link's Awakening that has like dungeon making.
Oh, the dungeon creator.
Yeah. That was good. Cadence of Hyrule comes out in 2 days actually.
Wow.
If you guys, if anyone's interested in rhythm games, because I definitely
that actually looks good.
I definitely played like the entirety of Crypt of the Necrodancer just because I saw the trailer for Cadence of Hyrule.
Did you enjoy it?
Of course, yeah. Like I think I have like 60 hours in it. Like
I
for like
implore you, everyone who's listening, even if you don't like rhythm games, to check out the soundtrack for Crypt of the Necrodancer. It's so good.
It
There's
honestly
so
yes.
many soundtracks, but they're all so good, and I promise you, Cadence of Hyrule is going to be no different. It'll be amazing.
Hmm.
it
If there's
honestly
one,
just looks like a fun game. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, number one, I want to give the entirety of Link's Awakening a hug. That game, like that art style, definitely grew on me. Like I love it. Number two, I for one, I don't know about you guys. I think the fourth DLC character for Smash should be Guigi. I'm just saying.
No, that shit is a sin. I saw 8 Luigi's on a screen. I fucking shivered, yo.
Oh my god.
There's
Dude.
such a thing as too much Luigi. I could deal with one. Guigi made me like,
That trailer
feel
for Luigi
hatred I thought I
Mansion.
put away long ago. But there was too much goo. Way too much goo.
Dude, you could
That
there's like 8 players worth of goo in that game too.
oh my god.
Too
That
many
trailer for
goo.
Luigi Mansion was actually like way like it was cute, but it was actually like the kind of cute that's like I want to get this game. Like I just want to
Yeah.
experience
It
it.
looks good.
Like
I love Luigi's Mansion, and like I've I'm a little bit higher on Dark Moon than some of the other people I talk to. Like a lot of people that I know, they just like they're not huge fans of it, and I hope that Luigi's Mansion 3 finds a middle ground for that because I think the games are a lot of fun. Oh God, I'm so upset.
That was quick.
Dude, listen, man.
How does
it
this
was-
stuff happen so fast? This is like
Do
a
you
fresh
wanna-
render.
Do you want to know
Uh,
how?
Crazy.
Do you guys want to know how quickly it took me to find fan art of Nessa from Pokemon? 23 minutes.
Wow.
People are
they have their freaking pens ready.
How did they do it?
They're
Yo,
watching the direct. They have their pens ready. They take a snapshot. And they're like, "I'm drawing this. Quick draw, quick draw."
Dude, it's wild. But yeah, I definitely saw 8-player Luigi. I'm almost positive. Or there was here. This is like I think 4, but
Yeah, there's like 4 Luigis that all happen to be like his alt colors from Smash. And then
Oh.
they all have Luigi. And it like I get it. It's cool. It is actually really nice to see like multiplayer of this caliber because I feel like it's oddly absent these days in like such a multiplayer focused
multiplayer player.
world of gaming that there's not a lot of co-op play of like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
there's
something
not.
that's going to almost certainly be like a disaster in the making as far as gameplay wise with your friends. Like I look really forward to it.
Yeah. And also,
Go
like,
aside.
so something else that I was like a big fan of was the fact that like Nintendo was kind of tying some of these like obscure announcements on the tail end of like collection stuff. Because like I look at the the Trials of Mana, and then they announced the Secrets collection, which like,
Yeah.
is, like all the Secrets of Mana games, and then they announced the new Contra game, which in my opinion was I think the game looks fucking terrible.
It's probably bad, but Contra, like this collection is gonna be pretty good. Like
Yeah, the collection's sick.
Is infinitely more lit than the new game they announced. Because the new game they announced looks like a launch title for like the PSP.
what's
Not even the Vita.
I'm trying, that's actually really funny. what's like the actual name? I haven't. Hold on, I'll just type in new Contra. New Contra. I saw it and I was just like, I didn't care. I just saw that the collection had Contra Hardcore on it, which is the Sega Genesis one, and that game is so sick.
Yeah,
the game is
man.
so good. It has a little robot called Brownie in it. But anyways, okay. He's like miniature. You don't even have to crouch with him, but he still has a crouch. It's really cute. But anyway, so the new game's called Rogue Corp, and yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like not good. But like the thing about the Contra games is they're always over the top. Like this one has I was just talking about a little robot in the Genesis one. This one has like a panda. It's actually like a
Cyborg, if I remember correctly.
yeah. Hold on, I got hold on, I got him a picture of him. I gotta find it. There we go. Where is this panda? I'm like being extra careful to like.
Oh my god.
There he is. There he is. Look at that guy. That's a whole panda.
I can't unsee it.
That's the whole
Yeah, that's a whole panda. So I don't know. Like it's still cool to see that. I am definitely excited for the Trials of Mana because Secret of Mana is an incredible game and it has seen a remake before, but the remake is like a really bad like mobile one. So I'm hoping it's a more true to form remake.
Also, I don't know about you guys. Something that like took me by surprise was that the soft confirmation of a sequel to Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah,
That's
Zombie
well, I mean,
3
soft
again.
confirmation. That's a hard confirmation.
yeah, that was yes. Yeah, they said this is the Breath of the Wild. At first, I thought it was gonna be DLC, but they said sequel.
That's what I thought. I was like, because like it's funny because I was talking because I'm playing through it like right now, and like I was telling friends, I was like, people are still playing this game. There's no way that they're just gonna drop this and not make more DLC for it. And like, no, they already confirmed that they're done with all the DLC, and I'm like, that's literally impossible. There's no way that they're going to drop this game. Like, so then when they announced this, I was like, oh yeah, here's the DLC I knew they were going to make, and they're like, no, a sequel is in development, and I was like, that's even better. Like that's a whole game. Like,
Jesus,
Dude,
man.
I'm a little surprised because Breath of the Wild is really big and it'd be really easy to make more DLC as you just mentioned. But hey, a whole new game. I just wonder. It's probably a couple years out, I would think. The one thing I am a little disappointed about is like it looks, and maybe this is a good thing. This could be a good thing. It looks exactly like Breath of the Wild. Like it doesn't look like a different game. You know how like Twilight Princess looks different than Ocarina, which looks different than. Although I guess Majora and Ocarina have the similar sort
yeah, I
of
was about to say it
but-
has
They
it has a
confirmed
Majora's
yesterday
Mask feel to it,
yeah.
whereas like it's
they
the
mentioned in
same
an
game
interview
but
during the
darker.
Treehouse afterwards that it's supposed to be inspired by Majora's Mask, or at least be akin to Breath of the Wild the same way that Majora's Mask is.
I
to
could see
Ocarina
it.
of Time.
I saw a quote where he said it's not we're not trying to make it the Majora's Mask to Ocarina of Time, but we are trying to, or they said we're trying to make it darker than that. That was what the quote said.
Wow,
It was
really?
like something
Jeez,
like that.
man.
So like,
That's good.
like yeah, it's like I think that's what they're aiming for.
Nice.
Yeah. Speaking of like, so that's a good example, I think, of like Nintendo like hitting the mark, and then after reading some of the stuff that's been coming out of the Pokemon stuff the last couple of hours,
Oh no!
I gotta
that's
tell
kinda-
you, I'm not excited
It's
for
time.
Pokemon at all. It's not.
here's the deal.
I'm
I
underwhelmed.
Wait,
was.
can we say specifics? Because I've not looked up the stuff that I've not looked up new Pokemon stuff.
So here's the deal. So last week before we did our podcast, they were doing a Pokemon Direct in which they revealed a handful of new Pokemon. They gave us the box art legendaries, which one of them is literally Sif from fucking Dark Souls.
Yeah.
And you know they showed like a couple of different mechanics, whether it be like the wild area, yada yada yada, all that other stuff. And today they kind of like reiterated a lot of that stuff in chewed up form. They announced that they're doing a demo with one of the gym leaders, and through that you discover two new Pokemon, which is an electric corgi. Big fan, by the way. But through comments through Masuda, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't like I've only like recently like caught up on this stuff. Apparently, like you can't port over Pokemon from Pokemon Home unless they exist in the Galar region already. So that like locks off like a huge majority of Pokemon, and like I know for some people,
I actually agree with that.
I do, but I can also see why it's a big problem for people.
I understand for completionists it's a big problem because they already have all the Pokemon from previous gens, but from a logistical standpoint, it makes a lot of sense because there are a lot of mechanics that exist in the previous gens, and there are Pokemon that Game Freak more than likely does not want to have to deal with the logistics of transferring them over into Gen 8.
They mentioned that
There
the
were
reasoning
tons,
for it was
there are tons of problems with Gen 7's mechanics that they just can't logistically fix. They don't want to fix it in Gen 8 because that would take away from Gen 8.
Right.
That's what they had to do when Gen 5 was like everyone's like greatest baby, but then in Gen 6, literally Gen 6, all they did was fix the mechanics from Gen 5. So the actual story itself was stale, and everyone said they hated it. And in my head, I was like, this is better than Gen 5 because it fixed everything that was wrong with it. So instead of doing that again, because Gen 7 was a mechanical mess, they're just like, screw it. You're not bringing over anything from old generations. We're just gonna have you play out this one and have you focus on this one. I think that's a good idea, personally.
Actually, I don't disagree. I don't know. Maybe I'm just
I think
old and cranky about
I agree
Pokemon.
with it in this principle where like I think it'll like unstale competitive play to an extent because I think Pokemon like you look at some of the most like crippling Pokemon in like OU and you look at like Landorus and I don't think that I think for legendaries it makes sense. I think for starters it makes sense, and I think for the regional variants of Alola it makes sense unless they like try to shoehorn some new Galarian fucking British bird in my face or something like that. However, but it's not all bad. Like I wouldn't call that bad news. I just call it polarizing, depending on who you talk to. If there's one thing that came out from, because that's the best part about Nintendo's conference, is that you have to they force you to watch the Treehouse stuff for little tidbits and nuggets. And something that really made me excited is that Dynamaxing is completely replacing both Z moves and Mega Evolution.
That's what I thought. Yeah, this is something that is a byproduct of not letting Pokemon from old regions come forward, because those Pokemon are tied to those old mechanics. So they want to completely separate this region from all the old. The fact that Z moves and Mega Evolutions are gone is a good thing to me. This is this is almost like what they did in Gen 5. Because in Gen 5, you weren't able to port over new Pokemon into the game until you already finished the main game. So it's not that different. It's just they're just separating the old from the new. And it's not like they can't update the game later to support old Pokemon, which they probably will do.
Well, they did this with Sun and Moon as well. The initial Sun and Moon locked away a lot of Pokemon, and then Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon basically opened the floodgates. So it's not like this is an unprecedented move. And I'm going to agree as far as balancing goes, it's a really smart idea, because it gives people a chance to at least test out all of the new stuff before they try to break it over their legs with already
the old stuff that worked.
Yeah. I was going to say, if there's one thing that I really, really like about Dynamaxing from what I've seen so far, is that any Pokemon can be the Dynamax Pokemon.
Yeah.
If you go into a battle in Gen 7, you look at the team, you're just okay, this Pokemon's gonna have the Z move, or if in Gen 6, this is very clearly the Mega. If you're going into anything without a Mega, you're just gonna fucking lose. It makes the mechanic much more situational, where it's just okay, this Pokemon's already +2 in attack, and I'm setting up the sweep, I'll Dynamax now, and then just
exactly. It's like a universal comeback mechanic, as opposed to a situational okay, does this one have a Z move? Does it have a Mega Evolution? Do I have to worry about blah 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 blah? It's not I don't know.
It's not degenerate.
Yeah, Z moves were a mistake. That's all. Let's put it that way.
It's 3 turns with some sort of boosted moveset or stat pool. We don't know if it's degenerate yet. The way that
I think from what I saw, from what I saw. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say.
Go ahead.
All right, Frank, ready, set, go.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Go, Franco.
It's been determined.
Rock, paper, scissors? No, Frank, go.
I was going to say, it reminds me of X Factor and Marvel vs. Capcom, where it's available to everyone, but then there are others who could very clearly abuse it more given certain situations. That's at least how I could see it panning out, but obviously it's too early to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. Mostly just because giant corgi Pokemon with a heart on his foot. That makes. Also, shout outs to there's one of the Pokemon that was shown through the demos was confirmed a brand new type combination with
Dark and Fairy.
Dark and Fairy, which is fucking busted. Not looking forward to that. We'll see. So if there's one other thing, there's one other stone I want to overturn before we eventually get to the good shit. And that's that I get that Animal Crossing has gone full Survivor, and they're forcing you to spend 39 days on an island with Tom Nook and pay off your debt.
Oh, really?
No, I'm mostly just making a Survivor joke, because they did announce the Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing New Horizons, which got delayed because they said it was coming this year. Now it's coming out March, like we already said earlier. But basically the gist is that you end up on a deserted island with Tom Nook, and I guess the concept is to restart life or something like that. It looked like if Don't Starve and Animal Crossing had a baby, but it looks so good, man. This game I love Animal Crossing so much. It's a great game to just turn your brain off and play with. And there's it's a lot of the same stuff. You start off in a tent. You have to build up your area around you. You you plant stuff. There's like this new pole vaulting thing that you can do to like get over like areas and stuff like that. And the big thing, there's two things to me that stood out. It's like number one, they allow you to choose your skin color for the first time in Animal Crossing. And number two, they allow you to play with more than 4 players because there's like at least 8 players on the screen at one point, which is very, very exciting.
That
and
is actually really exciting.
Did it come again?
It caps out at 8 players in one like play session.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So
yeah, it just looks so good. Man.
This is the good part about Nintendo, because I would imagine that 8-player thing is probably a local. Like, I'm sure you could do it online, but I bet you like you could obviously set that up locally. And there's a lot of games I noticed before, obviously before we move on to Smash, like even still that offer that local experience. I don't know if anyone's a fan of like the Ultimate Alliance series. They're an old game. It's basically like the Marvel superhero game.
I'm so
Dude,
excited.
those games are good.
Those games were fun. Like they're fun party games. It's just
exactly.
I don't that's not the type of game I would play by myself. Like that's the only way I put it.
It's the
like,
total.
That's the game you play when the boys come over.
Yeah, I think that game was just meant to be played with.
Dude, yeah, well,
like, you can't.
You play it with 4 people. It's literally just like it's a beat 'em up. Like it's the perfect like if you're just hanging with the boys, just beating up the baddies. Like that's all you do.
Speaking of multiplayer, they confirmed that they're adjusting Super Mario Maker 2 to support online multiplayer with friends.
Yo, thank God.
Which was like that shot up like my opinion of the direct like so much. Like it was just like, oh, okay, so this is actually like you're actually listening. Okay.
So simple. It's so simple. But yeah, so that was one thing I wanted to say, because I don't know, the Switch is so good for that, man. It's multiplayer. So like, why wouldn't you just add the components to everything?
Another thing, and I don't know if this like, depending on who you talk to, this could be like huge or just like, oh, that's cool. Actually, 2 things: Settlers of Catan on the Switch, like that.
Yeah.
Like I've been waiting for like the Switch to like start supporting like these major like board games since it came out. Really, I was like, they could literally put Settlers on Catan on the Switch, and they finally did. So like that's something that's really interesting for me right now.
There's just so much stuff that they showed that like it just like makes so much sense. Like because the big thing that made this direct huge to me is that like it wasn't a whole lot of like porty stuff, and like the stuff they were porting was stuff that like looks cool. Like they're bringing Witcher 3 onto the Switch. 3. Yeah. They're bringing Resident Evils 5 and 6. So I saw a tweet that said you can play the bad Resident Evil games on the Switch too.
Dang. that was early on in the conference. I was like, all right, I guess a little warm up.
I don't.
Little warm up collection.
Yeah, I wouldn't personally like go to the middle of an empty house to play Resident Evil, but it's fine. And then you saw all the shit they put in the sizzle reel. Like Spyro is in the sizzle reel.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how that makes me feel.
It's interesting. I mean, deconfirmed for Smash at the very least. The one thing. Oh yeah, dude! 2 games we haven't even talked about yet that look like probably. Well, I think Daemon Cross Machina, however it's supposed to pronounce. I think
it looks so good.
Dude, it looks good. It looks good. And then Astral Chains. Oh my God.
Astral Chain looks amazing, and this is one of the things that makes me like the most like aggravated is the people that are like, where's Bayo 3? Why didn't they say anything about Bayo 3? It's the same company is trying to advertise a new game that's coming out in 3 months, and you're asking for Bayo 3? Do you not understand how this works?
Dude,
like,
and Astral Chain looks really, really,
it
really
looks
good.
So good. I tried to like explain to a coworker today that's like, I want Bayo 3. I was like, dude, look up Astral Chain. He's like, that's not Bayo 3. I'm like, bro, like it's the same company. Just look at. I swear you'll like it if you look it up. And he's just like, yeah, maybe I'll look it up. I'm like, how? How could you like be this like tunnel vision?
Oh yeah, and No More Heroes 3.
Yeah,
like,
that actually looks good. And I've never even played No More Heroes.
I saw that. As soon as I heard Travis touchdown, I knew it was time. And he pulled off like a fucking Kamen Rider transformation into like a mech suit. Like it was so good. It was such a good trailer, especially because I'm not sure if anyone here is a big fan of the No More Heroes games, but the most recent one, which is like a mini game collection almost, Travis Strikes Back. At the very end of the game, there's a super small teaser at the end of the credits where you literally, where it like changes how the game is played. You play as Travis and you walk up to like a dummy, and he like turns to the camera and says, we're in development. So like
Oh,
they were very cheeky with how they teased No More Heroes 3 being in development, but to actually see a trailer so soon, it was like actually breathtaking.
yeah. So I think we've touched. I'm pretty sure we've. Like, it's funny, even when we try to move on to the cool stuff, we keep remembering. It's like, oh yeah, then they showed this. It just speaks for how good this conference was.
There was a lot more than I even realized there is, because any one of these things would make for a really great topic on its own, whether it be from like Platinum Star's ability to make a really good like adventure kind of beat 'em up game, or like the fact that No More Heroes coming back after all these years and being like kind of a really cool, unique game on the Wii when it came out, but sort of got overlooked. Like all of these things make like a really good topic. But yeah, so we're here for, I guess, the main reason, which is the Smash DLC, which is something we've talked about quite often on this podcast.
Which is by the way was announced to us 4 days ahead of time, because at the end of the everybody was kind of like, oh, what if they show something at the Nintendo World Championships, which I knew they weren't going to, but Sakurai was in attendance and he was like, saying everything. He was like, by the way, guys, we're gonna reveal the new fighter on a Tuesday, and in other news, nobody was surprised because we all knew it was coming. And I think Chris is already showing what the big one is, but the trailer did the conference started off with so I muted everything like a couple days ago, so I was like kind of anticipating things kind of being a shitstorm, and then I booted up the trailer, and then I saw the horse, and then my fucking heart dropped out. I'm just like, it's another fucking Fire Emblem character.
Yo.
It's funny. My story is like kind of similar to that, because like I turned on the direct like maybe like 2 minutes in, and I saw that it was like a Smash scene. I was like, I could tell this is a Smash character reveal, and all I saw was a horse, and I was like, is this like are we getting like a horse character? A horse doesn't tell me anything. So I turned it off. And I ran like to like the table or kitchen so I could like set up and eat and then restart it from the beginning. And then I saw the character and I was like, is this like Fire Emblem? Like at first, and then I heard the music and I was like, oh, it's Dragon Quest. Okay, I'm just like not gonna pay attention, and I didn't pay attention. And then maybe like an hour later, I just watched it again. And then after that, I like watched it like 25 times in a row because I was like, "What? Like this character's actually kind of cool. Like what is this?" Again, I talked about it before, but it's like it just got more and more majestic every time I watched it. And I was like, "What is this character?" And now, at the end of the day, I've like somehow almost impulsively bought Dragon Quest VIII.
Dude, it worked. Their strategy.
It worked.
Their strategy totally worked.
Go straight from Dragon Quest character reveal into advertising two Dragon Quest games. It definitely
this is what I've been saying since day one. Like they're gonna release characters with the games that come out, and this was basically the pure example, and you've just proved that why they do these things. And I guess so these are all skins, correct? Like this is just like
yeah.
Okay.
So the character themselves is called the hero, and it's four iterations of the heroes from Dragon Quest across the various games. Each character gets one other color palette. So like it's getting pretty cramped on that character select screen for them, but I think it's a really smart move.
I think it's agreed.
I don't know how to feel about it, because like in the actual games, like I've never played a Dragon Quest game, but like I spent like the entire day looking up stuff. So like I thought that we would get a female variant for each one, because I think it's canon in the games you can be a male or female version of the protagonist. So they ended up just doing like alternate colors for the male, and like they actually look really good. So like I'm not gonna complain, but like, I feel like they kind of missed an opportunity there, like just slightly. It's not important. It's not like super huge, but it's like it.
What do you?
There's the precedent's already set for like Pokemon Trainer and
Corrin and Robin, and
it's like it's there. So I don't know why they decided this time not to do it.
Yeah, I agree. That's a little strange, but from what I've seen from like the followers of my friends online and stuff like that, I think Paradin is like a huge Dragon Quest buff, and she was like the male protagonists are just like significantly like more iconic and recognizable in the Dragon Quest community than
that
the
makes
female
sense.
ones.
And it also could be like because what's it called? They're Akira Toriyama's works, so like maybe they felt like if they used the male versions, the West or the the people in the West would be able to recognize that
Sure.
these are more iconic characters more easily because they knew that like these characters are not as popular in the West. So they probably just wanted to use like the most popular version of the character,
Yeah, and
like what Koopa's saying.
it makes sense because I mean everyone knows Dragon Ball Z in the West as you were mentioning, and Akira Toriyama is the same exact like artist behind Dragon Quest, and he was the artist with Chrono Trigger as well. So it's kind of fun to see like this art in Smash. Like it's something that's iconic in its own right, and however it shows up, it shows up. It obviously was not going to be Goku, or maybe
But this
not
is
so
as close
obviously.
as we're gonna fucking get.
This is the
It
closest we're gonna
does not
get.
get close.
Goku's in Smash, everyone.
Yeah, we did it. So
We did it, boys.
so here's what do you guys think about his moveset? It looks like he has like this little menu screen that pops up, like the game.
Holy shit! This actually looks like the most interesting character that I've ever seen in a Smash game, but also like the most complex. Because the way I see it, this guy has 16 different specials.
Yeah, I'm fucking scared.
Like he literally gets to decide matchups like on the fly. Say it again.
I was saying this is karmic retribution for the West getting Wrigley in Smash. Like Dragon Quest is like a cultural icon of Japan when it comes to gaming.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me that so much detail is put into the character's appearance, but also his moveset. And the fact that they've basically taken Link, Shulk, Robin, and Marth and put them in a blender is like terrifying.
Yeah, I think this is actually the first like legitimate stand character that we've gotten in Smash. Like that actually is a stand character because like he literally gets to decide. He gets to decide his moveset. Like that's what it looks like.
He
Yeah,
got
like-
sing as a projectile.
I gotta tell you, yeah, like when I first saw the trailer, I was like, all right, like another sword character, fun. And then yeah, I saw that thing pop up with like the like little menu and RPG, like JRPG stuff, and I was like, okay, like I'm kind of about it. But
And
Bro,
then,
trust me, the more you watch
yeah, I
it, the
can
more
imagine.
it just kind of like it's just like holy shit, because like he has a mana bar, like
Yeah.
like
Look,
ah!
mana 20. Like look at that.
yeah, and then like
How
he's
much it
like,
costs.
like once my man started like turning to steel and like he went zoom and then he fucking and yeah, then he went fucking and then fucking kamikaze. I'm just like, this character is fucking terrifying. I have to take like an entry level college course to like properly learn how to play this character. But I'm so fucking excited because people always complain about how like these Smash characters like Smash isn't that deep. These characters aren't that complex. And then they added Ryu, and they're like, okay, this character is kind of complex until you realize that up till Shoryuken is busted. And then they added Bayonetta, and they're like, okay, this character has like ladder strings. This looks like it takes some effort, and which it does until you realize that it's broken. And then now they're like, okay, what if we add in fucking magic to everything? And
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my god,
it's super cool. And I guess like we kind of jumped the Banjo now because I can't stop staring at this screenshot of Joker looking down at him. Like, who would have ever thought that this would ever happen in any world? Like, look at this, man. This looks ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Here's my headcanon for this. So Banjo was supposed to be the first DLC character, but Joker stole his invitation. So this is him being like, oh, hey. This is
this is awkward.
Yeah, so, okay, so here's the deal. I'm going to explain my situation with this because I was kind of like, I did feel a little deflated. Like, I was very excited for the hero stuff because I was like, okay, like this looks legitimately cool. Like, I'm happy for the Dragon Quest people because this is very different and I like it. But I did feel like a little deflated just because I was very steadily on the Banjo hype wagon the last few months. And then they're showing the sizzle reel and then they start playing the King K. Rool trailer again. And I'm like, wait, did I like accidentally click out of like my YouTube browser or something? Like, what happened? And then they show the exact same trailer except King K. Rool's like there. And I'm like, wait, what? And I was at my desk at work when this was happening. And then I saw the Jiggy pop in the screen. And I dropped everything that I was doing. I ran to the back of my office building and I just like sat in the corner and like watched this happen in front of me, and I still can't believe it's fucking real.
Yeah, it's pretty real. We'll see how it is. I mean, the moveset looks pretty like kind of what you would expect. I mean, he's got some projectiles. He's got like obviously like his bear is like Kazooie, just just like
Yeah.
pecking at stuff. Like it's kind of what you'd expect. It's just it is really strange to see him like there. I still like I'm still looking at the same screenshot. Like it looks
If you go on
so
the official
strange.
Smash Bros. Website and you look at the DLC that shows Banjo and Kazooie, it looks like it was photoshopped.
Yeah.
Like it just does not look real. It's very real, but it doesn't look like it belongs.
Yeah, and like this is it's just like it. So here's the thing: just like the whole time I'm watching this, like I'm watching the stuff for Hero, and I'm just like my brain is just overloaded. Like I need to take a nap or something.
Yo,
And I'm watching the stuff for Banjo, and like I'm about to like cry because I'm watching the trailer, which by the way, like the thought of them using the shot for shot like King K. Rool trailer. Like was absolutely fucking genius. Like I don't think that like gets talked about enough. Say that again.
Rest in pieces, my boy Duck Hunt.
Oh yeah, that
Not
dog is
only
dead.
did he get wrecked in the trailer, but almost immediately, Raito tweeted out, "Duck Hunt is dead." I'm pretty sure the coffin for Duck Hunt. Every Duck Hunt player moved on to Trainer when Trainer came back in Ultimate. Now the rest of them are just going to leave to Banjo. The character's gone. The evil's vanquished.
Yeah, they put that dog has been put down. But needless to say, like I just like it warmed my heart to see like because in the King K. Rool trailer, like Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong are mortified that King K. Rool killed King Dedede in front of them in cold blood. And then like you're watching Banjo like step on top of the Duck Hunt dog, and they're popping off for their boy. And like, this is so fantastic, and that GIF is gonna be like in my frequently used for like the rest of my life because it is just so good. And like Banjo's moves, like first of all, like all the follow up tweets from like the people from the people at Rare and like from like the people at Grant Kirkhope like tweeting about
even
it.
Microsoft, even
Yeah,
Microsoft.
this is Microsoft's doing
Grant
too.
Kirkhope said we're home. I damn near almost teared up, and I don't even care for Banjo like that.
I love Banjo Kazooie, and like I think the thing that like struck home the most with me is that like you don't see it like talked about a lot like with between the devs, but like it's very clearly like a rite of passage and like an honor for these characters to be like asked to be put in Smash. And like I think seeing like Rare and like Phil Spencer and like anybody involved with Banjo Kazooie, like just so genuinely excited about this happening, like it really brings home like just how important this is to like a game development studio. Because like you look at what Smash did for Kid Icarus, you look at what's like Smash has done for franchises like Fire Emblem, like you look at what it does for a franchise like Mega Man. Like
Yeah.
it takes like life and injects it into the
F-Zero.
vein, and injects it into the life into the fucking like veins of these characters. And like
Captain Falcon has appeared in more Smash games than F-Zero games.
I mean, listen, not everybody's
Oh,
considered
man.
as fortunate, but it's fine. It just like looks so good. Like Spiral Mountain's a perfect stage, and seeing like Bottles and Gruntilda, and the fact that they like pay homage to the end of the Grundy fight in Banjo Kazooie in the trailer, which is like so fucking cool. And like seeing everybody so happy for Banjo that he's there, and like God, I'm getting emotional talking about it, and like it definitely pays into the strategy because like we didn't obviously say it, but like Hero's supposed to come out sometime during the summer, and Banjo's supposed to come out during the fall, and I'm just so happy, man. Like watching people like James and Hungry, who I know are like Hungry has said is like forever. He's like, I didn't think they'd ever do it. Like I just never thought it would happen. So like, cause like the way that they felt about Banjo is how I felt about Sonic when they brought Sonic into Smash. Like I never thought that day would happen. Like my friends thought I was crazy, and then I came home October 10th, 2007. I'll remember this day for the rest of my life. Like that was the happiest day of my young life because my favorite video game character could fight Mario. And now at some point, like you could literally like you can play as fucking Snake, Bayonetta, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Pac-Man, and like you can fight on Spiral Mountain. Like my mom thinks I'm on crack. It's fucking oh my god, I love Smash Brothers. No other video game can make me feel this way like Smash Brothers does.
I just really enjoy this tweet by Hungry. Basically, if this guy's got a gerbil in his pocket, and if you don't think that's tight as fuck, then you can just leave. I mean, he's right though. He's right. It looks really. Yeah, it's pretty hype, dude.
Look up this guy. Look up his the Dragon Quest Protagonist 8. Look up his alternate costume. I think that is personally. I think that's the best one.
Is that the guy that looks like Pegasus?
Wait, hold on.
No. That's the one that looks like a pirate.
Okay.
Wait, where am I, where am I looking?
You were just looking at Dragon Quest alts, right? Or were you just looking at
That was
Twitter?
that was just Hungry's tweet, but I did
Okay.
find another I did find this other picture
Yeah,
of the
I'll
hamster.
find a picture of it.
So that's nice.
Hamster.
Oh yeah. By the way, I just want to go out on a limb and say that Hoopstradamus has never once failed, because I was saying like days ago to like, yo man, there's never been a Smash Brothers they've never shown Smash Brothers at E3 and not shown more than one character.
Yeah.
So like I
That's
knew
a good
for
point.
yeah, because like you look at when they revealed Super Smash Brothers for Wii U, like that makes sense. Like they're gonna show a couple of new characters, and they showed 3 in total, which was Villager, Mega Man, and Wii Fit Trainer. You fast forward to E3 that following year, I'm pretty sure is when they showed Palutena, Pac-Man, and the Mii's. So there's never been a Smash Brothers. There's never been Smash at E3 where they don't show multiple characters, and all my friends were like, "Oh, but they've never shown E3. They've never shown DLC at E3." And I'm just like, "Well, yeah, but that's because like we never knew what was coming. You know what I mean? Like they've never properly announced that like how many DLC characters they were gonna do. They told us right off the bat, it's like, hey, you're getting 5 characters off the bat for right now. So it was very clear that like and if they want to get these characters out by a certain amount of time, they got to start pumping it out sooner rather than later. And from what it sounds like, they're going to do a character like one every like 2 or 3 months or something.
It's looking seasonal. So we got a summer release, we got a fall release. I'm sure there's going to be a winter and spring and so on. And they have announced packs like a Fighter Pass like 1, which would imply that there's going to be a Fighter Pass 2 at the very least, which would mean that you probably have a whole nother year of like seasonal releases, if I could speculate at that. But
yeah, so I've rambled on enough. Banjo, how do you get?
I mean,
personally, as someone that I just wanted to say, from a perspective of someone that has never played Banjo-Kazooie, I definitely feel the aura of like how much of an icon he definitely was, because like it's like almost like the same thing with like Dragon Quest, where it's like I've never played Dragon Quest, but like you can kind of like just sense how important it was by like how much detail they put into like the character, the trailer, and how the responses are of like everyone's responses towards the characters. Like it's not like, I mean, people on the West are obviously more happy about Banjo Kazooie, but like there's so many people that are also like, oh, if you think that the Dragon Quest characters are another Fire Emblem character, you're uncultured. And like they're not saying that ironically, like they're legitimately being serious. And that inspires me to go and just like look up a bit of like what is Dragon Quest, like how important was it, like what is its history, and like now I want to play the game. So
yeah, it's really cool how that works. And something like Banjo and Kazooie, like this was an N64 game, and this was like it definitely was. And I saw a Gons tweet like this, and he's right. Like this is an era of gaming that is we're never gonna see this again. Like there was something very unique about 3D platformers, especially on the N64. Just kind of figuring out how the 3D dynamics work and kind of how character movement works, and making a platformer that isn't just 2-dimensional. Like this is a total like this was at the prime of that. Like this was one of those games that did it very well, and everyone kind of recognized it for it. So I am excited for that being kind of reflected in there.
And not even just like the 3D platformer, but like nobody does collectathon games anymore. And Banjo is like one of the best collectathon games that I've ever played. Like just the sheer amount of stuff that they have to put into it. And like I think a lot of people forget that like Rare for a time was like one of the kingpins of like in regards to development companies, because like between the Donkey Kong Country games and Banjo and Conquer, like Rare for that stretch of like the mid to late 90s, like they were killing it. It's just that it's a shame that like the IP stuff didn't really like pan out the way it did. Was what happened when they had the what is it, they sold their rights to Microsoft or something like that.
Pretty much. Microsoft kind of took over their whole thing, and Microsoft, as we mentioned earlier, was saying like this was an easy deal for them to make, and that's pretty great to hear.
Yeah, and like it's so heartwarming, and like it's just like I said, like the thing that makes me the happiest is like that people are getting their Sonic the Hedgehog, or they're getting their. Anytime someone gets their favorite video game character in a Smash, it makes me happy. Like I was excited when I got a Castlevania rep, but like I'll never be as happy as like when I saw Sonic and Smash for the first time, and so on and so forth. So I think the people can kind of let the theory die of us, like Mezzi said it time and time again on the podcast, where you start your relay with the best runner. Like Nintendo is very clearly like saving their bullets in the chamber for like what's coming next, because I think Banjo is something that people just straight up thought was never going to happen.
So that's why Steve will be a fitting winter character, and why Master Chief will be a fitting next year character. And
we're done. Okay,
we're not getting 3 Microsoft reps. Let's be real.
Can I bring something to your guys? Can I bring something to your guys' attention really quick?
Sure.
So while we were doing this podcast, there's a tweet from a certain video game developer. Let me find the specific tweet here. Bear with me. This is very important. Just trust me. I'm an expert.
Bearing.
Let me just find the good shit. Where are you? I just had you.
I'm at
Come on.
Peak Bear.
Stay on target. Stay on target.
We're almost there. Exactly. We're almost there. Where are you? I lost you. Hold on. All right. Anyway, so I think it was Hideki Kamiya who tweeted. He tweeted at Sakurai, being like, and the rough translation was like, "What about Joe?" In reference to Beautiful Joe.
Oh man.
Okay, but to be fair, I think that the 4th character is already decided. I don't know if the 5th one is.
Probably not the 5th. Probably not.
Yeah, that because like if they have announced the 3rd person, they already know who the 4th one is. They're already working towards the 4th one, but I don't know if the 5th one is decided yet.
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't even think they had planned on doing Banjo. I think they put that like trailer together really last minute, because there's no like details about him on here. I think they were just like, all right, people want this. It makes sense. We'll just make a trailer.
No, I think they planned on doing Banjo. I think it was just that the reason why they kind of like didn't put as much detail into him is because he can't really advertise anything.
And didn't they also? I think Reggie also said that like Nintendo had already like decided what the DLC characters were gonna be like months ago. So most of these have probably been cooking for a while.
I think Oh yeah, that's a good point. Reggie did say that. He did say that. He said that Nintendo came to Sakurai with like a bunch of ideas for characters, and Sakurai just had to pick like which ones were realistic. So I think he does already know all the characters that.
Oh, that's totally true. I'd forgotten about that, but it'll be interesting. Speaking of eras of gaming, because we haven't really gotten like that indie rep. I
think more than an indie rep. I think that like. I think it's more so possible that I feel like one of the reps, like the 4th or 5th pick is going to be a character that was big on PlayStation, like just PlayStation in general, like not Square. Because like Square is its own thing, but we haven't really gotten a Sony like sort of like collective Sony rep, in my opinion. That's kind of where I see it.
I guess that's true.
But then again, Sony doesn't really have IP that's like that iconic anymore.
Not anymore.
That's why it's like I don't know. It's like they might have thought about it, but it doesn't really. I don't know.
The only one I could really think of is like Sackboy, and no one wants Sackboy.
I actually think that the only one that they would consider doing at this point would be Spyro, just because they wouldn't do Crash Bandicoot, because I feel like the archetype already. It'd be hard to throw in his archetype in the game when like there's multiple different characters that have moves that you would probably put on Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
But Spyro would be like a unique sort of addition to the game, because that archetype just doesn't exist.
But he was just in like the reel of like, oh, here are these games coming, you know.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
yeah, it's just hard to imagine. But like I don't know. There's definitely a lot of choices out there, and I don't know. I don't think we'll get like Fortnite guy either, even though he's like a generation. I'm really honestly like pulling for Master Chief. He would be epic, and I even saw James tweet earlier like his teabag would be the most iconic thing in Smash ever.
Yeah,
and he's so right.
If we did get Master Chief, he'd be the last one.
Yeah, and it makes
Yeah,
wow,
huge
it would come
effort,
full circle. Oh right, I remember what I was gonna say before. As far as like Sony rep goes, I mean it's not a pure Sony rep, but like even Joker, man, I mean Persona 5 is a Sony exclusive, and like all those games are mostly like just Sony. So I don't know, there's that a little bit to think about, and I'm not sure if Sony is really one to really want to play friendly with like Nintendo on this sort of thing, anyways. If I'm being honest.
Yeah,
I'm
I think it's just more that they don't have like an iconic IP. So like when it comes to like
Drake from
characters
Uncharted.
like things from Square Enix or Atlas, that's the best that they can do.
Yeah, that's it, man. But
what were you were gonna say something, Frank?
At least on the note of like a PlayStation or Sony rep, I feel like you can look at the cast of PlayStation All Stars and try to figure out like who isn't represented in any possible way, and maybe that would narrow down the list. But
oh,
even that doesn't give a decent pool of characters to look at.
well,
I got
because
it. Fat Princess nailed it.
yeah, that's an interesting point because like at that point you'd just be looking at like Jack and Daxter or like Crash or like yeah, there's Sackboy, there's a dude from there's Kratos, that's the name I'm looking for. Paparappa, unless they're coming out with a new game, No Shot in Hell. Yeah, it's funny. So many of these characters I don't even Katamari. There's so many of these characters I don't even like recognize. But I guess Dante kind of.
Sly Cooper.
Ooh.
I mean Mortal Kombat rep. I'm still kind of expecting that, even though we just got the new game and maybe it wouldn't make sense. But I don't know. There's plenty of choices out there. But
If I have like one hill I'll die on, I think that character 4 is gonna be like on a company that's a little slightly more on the safe side. Like if it's like another Capcom rep or something like that, I wouldn't be like humongously surprised. But like whoever character 5 is gonna like your computer's not gonna work for like 3 days. It's gonna be like that moment when they put Cloud in Smash, that moment when they put like Negan in Tekken or something like that, like where they put 2B in Soul Calibur. Like there's whoever character 5 is gonna be, it's gonna be something that like melts your fucking face off.
That's a good point. That's a good point because so far we've only gotten AAA reps. Like even Banjo-Kazooie technically counts as a AAA rep because Microsoft owns Rare.
All right, hear me out.
So we wouldn't get. That's what I'm saying. We wouldn't get a third party rep unless it's like Cuphead or something.
Which is
like,
that's possible though. That's like.
I mean, it is. If we get Cuphead, it would be like that. You blew up the internet, and you like because like you represented the third party genre with one of its best reps, like if not the best rep. Like,
yeah, man. I don't know. There's yeah. This is one of those discussions that I actually really love, and it's clear that we love it because Koopa, how many times have we speculated at Smash DLC? So many. You guys still there? Hold up. Did I disconnect? That's weird.
There shouldn't be like a single like archetype that doesn't exist in Smash at that point, except like a car racer, which you technically have in Captain Falcon.
True.
Well, Crash and Crash Team Racing, they did just announce that. Ryu Hayabusa, absolutely, dude. I still think that one's actually possible. Who knows? Maybe we'll see like that game because like they even had the ones on the Nintendo DS. They have the Ninja Gaiden games, so it's like it's definitely not out of the realm of possibilities. That's a game that hasn't really been released in a while.
Because like the developers of the Ninja Gaiden games have been kind of quiet.
Oh, Chris.
Yes.
It said you went offline.
Oh, that's what happened. Oh, it's okay because I'm still recording and all that. It's fine.
So this is for the audio companies only.
Yeah, exactly. This is the good stuff. I'm back on, I think. Maybe. I mean, I'm talking to you guys, which means I'm good. So that's good news.
It's all good. This just forces people to listen to the audio recording.
Perfect. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we could I mean, it's in the overlay. We haven't really talked about any tournaments from this past weekend. I don't know if we want to actually do that.
Leon won the monthly. Mars didn't lose a game at Overclocked. That's all I'm gonna say.
And Kameme won the tournament in SoulCal. I don't remember what it was called. The Mango.
The Mango.
Oh yes, the Mango.
Elegance returned to former glory in a bit.
Yeah, you did pretty good.
he's been coming back around because we saw him at Smash and Splash. And it's funny because I've been seeing the rumblings on Twitter of like people trying to defend like SoCal and the talent pool there, saying like, oh, it would be X region or Y region, which is not seemingly popular opinion, but
I mean, SoulCal Shenanigans are back. They're about to make one of their weeklies a C tier.
oh my
Yeah,
god,
can we talk
dude.
about that? Can we talk
Yeah,
about that?
let's do it.
Yes.
Yes.
Because this is going to be an arms race that I don't think the PGR Council is really ready for.
Agreed.
No.
Yeah,
There's gonna be so many. There's gonna be There's gonna be worms on the fucking floor. This can is gonna be overflowing. Like, I do want to like reiterate that like when this was brought up into attention, like Nero was the first one to kind of snuff it out and be like, "Yo, why are you gonna make an event grant an event PGR status after it's already capped? Like that's not fucking fair." And like I think Swara kind of like backtracked on the language because he was like, "Yeah, like
He
that was my fault."
immediately said like he's like, oh yeah, definitely we should consider this. Well, yeah, and everyone and then everyone's like, yo, what? Are you like high? And then he's like, oh wait, no, I maybe should have thought about what I said. It was like the funniest backtracking I've ever seen.
Yeah, I saw it, and it was so professional. But
Hey,
it was just like,
see, serious. So funny.
like I respect him, but it was like that. You could read in between the lines and that like really easily. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
No shade, just like no shade.
no, not at all.
No shade. It was just funny.
It's just funny. It's funny to see it unroll, like to unravel like that. Is all I'm getting at because it does sort of seem like funny in a sense because SoCal is obviously like one of those regions that's always just kind of booming attendance wise, and it's kind of just like the lay of the land. Like not a lot of places have that. Tri-State like covers like basically the entire like players worth of like Tri-State covers just like SoCal's just like geographical region. And they just get like the attention and they have like sort of the thing. So it seems like it would be very pay to play at that point, which is a precedent that like, I don't know, we see plenty in this stuff. I just don't know if like an organic Smash scene necessarily needs to hit that point quite yet. Just for something like a global ranking status seems silly.
Were you saying something before, Frank? I interrupted.
What I was gonna get at is like before people like try to forget or purposely don't mention it. Like, need I remind folks that around I think it was PGR version 2 for Smash 4, there was a lot of debacle having to do with the fact that every Wednesday night fights and the other like popular weekly, the Mega Smash Monday. Yeah, those two. Whenever there was a event that had to do with the 2GGC, those weeklies ended up being like ranked in some way, which inflated a lot of SoCal players' ranking.
I actually didn't know that they did that with the weeklies. I knew that they did it once.
They outlined it like almost immediately because people kept on complaining that SoCal was having like overwhelming amounts of representation on what was supposed to be a global ranking scale. And it was by no fault of them like traveling to these tournaments, just they happened to live close to so many of them.
Yeah, you just farm.
So like,
if
that sort of backpedals to that, I'm kind of going to be tight and kind of like doubling down on the idea that Metal put forward for doing the same thing but in Jersey.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I knew that was the case in terms of like the majors and regionals that they had, because literally every month they had another 2GG tournament, and like that it was always an S tier because all of the PGR was in SoCal. So like every time they went to a tournament, they would basically just refresh their PGR. So it was like, okay, I guess we have to go to SoCal or we're not getting on the global ranking. Like,
yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And this is one of those things that I bring up all the time is we always talk about the rankings and how the stuff works. And like a decision like this would kind of be an important one. So it's one of those things where I feel like everyone's kind of got to be on the same page about if we're going to have a ranking system, because it's too inconsistent from region to region, man. Like, and it's too easy to farm, like especially something like a local. Oh my God! And Zan coming in with I guess like the actual details. I gotta find the actual thing. He was saying like, yeah, like Wednesday night fights usually gets like 80 people, so it's like they just beefed it up because it's the finale for the season, so they're putting like some money into it. Like it would be, I don't know. I would hate to see every local doing that. That just feels like a terrible idea. Yeah.
And then,
because it would set a bad precedent.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, hey,
Because then what happens if Tri-State and SoCal and then like Florida or Chicago, like we all get into this like bidding war for having relevant locals?
I
Like,
would
what's going to happen to the other regions? Like
I would debate that this is
Georgia,
sort of
or,
happening
like the
a little bit.
Flowers.
So I think this sort of happens a little bit, but not financially, but on like a viewership scale, like getting the actual content out to people who want to watch, like just different regions. Because it was something I wanted to talk about, even with just the recap of like PSS, where you have Leon kind of popping off, and now people know who Leon is, so like you get some viewership out of that. But overall, like I wouldn't think it would be weird to say that like Master Hand has a viewership problem, because I would openly admit that it does. And the fact is, it's just like, okay, so if you can't rely on just like necessarily breakout or top players to bring like, attention to a tournament, then like, falls on something else. And like, there's like the established brands already, and that's kind of how it goes now. So if you just introduced being able to throw a shitload of money into that, which we actually did see with Thunder Smash a few weeks ago, by the way, then like it's really bad. And I think this was the exact complaint I had about Thunder Smash, where I was just like, okay, well, if we could just throw money at tournaments just to get attention, then this changes everything. So I don't know.
I feel like sadly that's the case though, because it is a grassroots
Yeah,
like
money talks, dude.
in nature. Yeah,
Money
like
talks,
where
and getting attention.
where there's
Yeah,
top players like money. Like
well, they have to. Like that's what makes them able to be a top player and to travel, man. It's no one's fault. It's the system. The system's kind of borked.
Like, so this podcast is currently consisting of people who are attempting to make some degree of a living through Smash through different facets, be they players, casters, producers, what have you. And so like money's obviously going to have some sway in how things work. That's just the reality of the real world. But I
Sure.
think it's on leadership to say like how much money in one area affects all.
Yeah, it's
That's the only reason that I'm kind of against this idea of locals being ranked again, because it has a bad impact on like the entire ecosystem, not just like the event organizers or the local players.
yeah, it kind of puts pressure on people to try and keep up with that kind of standard, and that's not a standard that we want to be
I say
establishing.
I'll be real with you. So like even and this is like a whole nother topic, and we're towards the end of the show, but this is actually something that is super interesting to me, obviously, since the fate of what I'm doing kind of rests in it. I even think about MHG as a channel where I'm just like, okay, like obviously I'm never going to be like MHG will never be as large as say something that's been around for 10 years plus, be it BG Bootcamp, Smash Studios, even things of that nature. 2GG, which has like kind of all the grandfathered stuff. So what is there that makes a channel unique outside of just providing like Smash content, right? So then that makes me think as like an owner and overall just like streamer and everything else here, that I'm just like, okay, well, it's kind of on me to find out that niche, and then Smash just goes on the side. Because like Smash outside of just like itself is never going to be big unless it's through like the already accepted channels, and that's sort of what it is. So unless everything has like a definitive structure or balance to it, it is really a free for all. So if everything goes the highest bid, guess who's doing totally different content and probably not a whole lot of like just totally either dropping it or doing something else. Like it would be someone like myself, and that's just because it wouldn't make sense. Like I couldn't sustain it. You know what I mean? So like that is definitely that's like a fate in the balance type of thing.
Okay,
Bro, you're definitely just talking to yourself for like a minute and a half.
Oh well, I mean, I'm definitely just. Oh.
I love how
we didn't hear any of that.
It was a monologue about how unsustainable the system would be, but luckily it recorded all of it, and you guys came just at the end of it.
It was on stream because I turned on the stream and I was hearing you speak, and I was like, we don't hear this. Like, we don't hear this in the call, but he's still speaking.
Damn, dude. Well, it's all in the recording, so hey, keep up with our YouTube channel. It's super cool.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I think that's a sign that we're just supposed to end this episode. Maybe we could talk about pay to play next week or something.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so before we leave, we're gonna do the thing we do every time to reveal a character, in which we're gonna try to predict who else they could possibly squeeze out of this toothpaste of video game characters and slap them in the Smash. And I'm gonna go first because after seeing that tweet earlier, give me fucking Beautiful Joe, or I will scream and cry because I want to be able to see Beautiful Joe kill Duck Hunt Dog, and then be able to spout off on commentary Henshin a go-go baby. for like the millionth time. So
That actually is kind of hype when I think about it.
that is my hill I'm choosing to die on next after I get the bear and the bird. So
All right, who's up next?
I'll piggyback off of that just because I'm also about Joe, but spinning off of that, the only other character I've wanted thus far in Smash is Wonder Red from the Wonderful 101. And I guess they
Absolutely.
can be coupled in with just another Platinum Games rep at this point. So like either Amaterasu from Okami or maybe even one of the characters from Astral Chain, because that game looks dope as shit.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah, Platinum is a really good developer. I don't know. For me, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just shout outs to the person who thinks the channel is gay and want to be banned. Yes,
yeah,
dude,
let's
we're
go.
like a real channel now. That feels so good. Anyways, for me, dude, I mean, Beautiful Joe would be hype, but like I'm gonna stick to the conventions that I actually think are realistic, whether it be like the Ryu Hayabusa or like I don't know. I actually do think that's realistic, and I think it'd be really good. And then like a Mortal Kombat rep would probably be good. Hold on. Jeez, think the call dropped again. All right.
No.
We're back. We're back.
Nice.
Anyways, yeah, I was just
I
saying Ryu
actually-
Hayabusa would be good. That's all.
I actually don't know. Like at this point, like I don't even know what's realistic. Like I don't even know like what I just really don't know like what the last characters could be at all.
Yeah,
Like-
I do stand by the logic, like I said earlier. Like whoever character 4 is going to be, I think is going to play pretty safe within like the parameters of what we've already seen. But whoever character 5 is, it could be fucking like it could be Spider-Man for all we fucking know. Like it'll be some character that we will be talking about it for like years.
it'll be like the snake to brawl.
Yeah,
Basically.
exactly. Like it's gonna like transcend universe. So
Yeah, man. I actually a superhero character would actually feel kind of fitting after seeing the cast that they're on rolling out. So.
like imagine Wolverine gets into Smash before he gets into Marvel. Like that'd be wild.
Oh shit.
Say that.
Anyway, before we sign off, for all of our audio only at this point, thank you for sticking with us for another week. If you want to follow me on Twitter, because I am in travel season right now, you can follow me on Twitter at Koopa NJ. I'm gonna be at Smashadelphia next week, and that's gonna be that's next week. Fuck, I gotta do laundry. So yeah, so follow me on Twitter. If you see me, come take a picture. If I'm gonna try to organize a meetup of people to go watch Toy Story 4 with, so we can all cry together and then not talk about it.
Nice, yeah. So, and if you want to follow me, you can find me at CSantoZX. But if you really just want to follow this podcast, follow the Master Hand Gaming Twitter, which is at Master Hand Games. Definitely keep up with the YouTube channel. We're just about to finish up the second season here. Got that renewal for the third season, so that's definitely a relief. Let's see. Yeah, you can find all these past podcasts, all the monthlies that. Well, yeah, actually, yeah, pretty much all the monthlies that go on in New Jersey, as well as a weekly. We got lots of character development here, so make sure you hit the sub buttons and hit the thumbs up. It helps a lot with visibility, especially if you're actually digging this kind of stuff. Share with your friends, all that. And then, Zone, where can they find you?
You can find me at Zone1P. That's ZOAN, because I definitely have to spell that out sometime. I actually, in terms of content, you won't find much on my Twitter. Mostly the stuff that I retweet is just like memes and like not philosophical stuff, but like open questions. So like I like to I like to discuss things. So like if you're into debating and you won't get too personal about it, then yeah, send me a follow, send me a tweet. Let's talk.
Nice. And then our special guest, who actually isn't even that much of a guest anymore, Frank. I would be happy if you're welcome back here anytime. We just got to get your headset situated now.
Yeah, so long as I don't downgrade to a Campbell's soup can, this has become pretty comfortable. But besides here, you can find me on my own Twitter, HangmanXII, and just for today only, I'm also going to plug my Twitch, HangmanXII, because tonight when I'm done at work, I'm going to be going to Aeon and actually streaming a blind playthrough of Banjo-Kazooie. I bought the game about 8.5 years ago, and it's sat in my collection of N64 games forever. because Donkey Kong 64 is one of my favorite games of all time. I've played it dozens of times through, and I figure it's only topical that I would go back and play the game that it's technically the spiritual successor to.
Yeah, man, nothing like a nice backlog of 8 years. I mean, honestly, that's like kind of the fun part about it, and that was even something else we didn't get to talk about with Nintendo is just like kind of bringing back like older games like that just to like play and experience, because you don't really see they really don't make them like they used to. So that'll be fun to check out.
Can't wait for Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts 2 for Nintendo Switch.
Can't wait for them to
Let's
finally
go.
tell us there's a WarioWare on Nintendo Switch.
No, they're gonna release it on Nintendo Wii.
Hey, listen, they come with Pikmin 4.
Oh God.
Anyways, that's gonna be it. Yeah. So yeah, check us out. Since we did have some audio cuts, these all be YouTube, SoundCloud. But until then, we'll catch you guys next week.
Hey, I'll play with you some other time.
Good.